Hey everyone, it's the Media Men here. I'm Keegan, and today is with
Uh,
me is Ben. Say hi, Ben.
Hello.
There he is.
Hi.
So, in this episode of Republic Broadcasting, we're going to be talking mostly about the first two episodes of Boba Fett. And before we get into that, though, I wanted to see, Ben, is there any Star Wars news?
Nothing crazy. Just a cute Force for Change video that had Hayden, um, Kelly, Marie Tran, and funny because she's in this. The actress who plays Fennec Shand. The name is escaping me right now, but they did a cute Force for Change video. It looked like they were all on set for something, so that's pretty interesting. That could hint that they're all involved in future projects. I mean, we know Hayden is with Kenobi and Ahsoka, but not sure what else, if anything.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Well, we'll have to keep an eye out for that. I'm always interested when I hear Hayden's back for something.
Oh yeah. I think he was probably on set for Kenobi when they asked him to do it. His hair was a little longer, he was clean shaven.
Yeah.
So probably
Yeah.
Kenobi.
So if his hair was longer and clean shaven, you think it's flashbacks to right before episode 3 with some of the stuff that he's going to be involved with?
I hope so. I hope that that's the case.
Yeah. It
Can't
seems.
bring him back and just have him in the Vader suit.
Yeah.
With
Though I'd be interested to see him
voice
in the
filter.
Vader suit actually doing something.
No, I would too, but more so like some people were like, "Oh, what does it matter? He's gonna be in the Vader suit the whole time." And it's like, well, obviously they're bringing him back either so he'll be in the Vader suit without his mask on, or they'll have flashbacks, or I would gander both if
Yeah.
I had to guess.
I gotcha.
But yeah,
Anything else on the news front?
no, just other miscellaneous rumors, but not a lot of point in getting into that when you don't have much confirmation.
Yeah, the only thing I saw recently was a promo for a new Star Wars game. Do you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
Star Wars Eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah. The CG trailer was pretty cool, but it doesn't look like the game's coming out for a while, and
Yeah.
the studio that's making it isn't known for making action games, which this game's supposed to be. So,
Interesting.
not sort of a weird choice. So, I mean, there's some controversy with the studio, but even outside of that, I don't think the studio head is a very good storyteller.
Oh,
David Cage. He's made games like Heavy Rain, um, Indigo Prophecy, and some other stuff. But yeah, I'm not a big fan
interesting.
of him.
That's kind
So
of a weird choice. I agree. Then I don't know why they would go with that. If
yeah, well, I think they were thinking like, oh, it'll be like a story progression game where you make different choices, but then the description also said it was an action game, so that's very odd. And then there's rumors concerning the development too. But for me, I wouldn't have chosen David Cage to make a Star Wars story-driven game. I think like his games review fairly well, I think, but for me, I don't think he's a very good storyteller. I think his dialogue's kind of bad and acting's not great. But I don't know. I mean, it could still
just
be
roast
good.
the man,
It
Ben.
really. I don't like his games, but part of that might be biased because I've heard him speak about games, and the way he speaks on it is very off-putting to me. But maybe the game will be good, and that won't matter. Especially, they're gonna have to like abide by some things because Lucasfilm Story Group probably has more input on the video games than they did on like the big movies.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. I mean, I was definitely looking forward to another Star Wars game because I loved Fallen Order. So
Yeah, me too.
another single
Okay,
player
well,
Star Wars game would be
there
awesome.
are rumors that they're gonna announce the next Jedi Fallen Order game.
Yeah, I think it did
Like
too well
the
not to have a
first quarter
sequel.
of this year. Yeah, before E3 this year, which is going all digital. And then apparently for release later this year, which would be pretty crazy and exciting if that's the case, because I really love Fallen Order. It's exactly my kind of
You
game.
said the game would be released this year, or the announcement of the development of the game?
The announcement would be this year and the release.
Oh wow,
I
that's
mean it's been 3 years. I
has
have
it
to
been that
assume
long?
that
Wow.
yeah, the development started well, not quite like I guess more closer to 2 because they released at the end of um,
Gotcha. Yeah.
December 2019. But I would have to guess that it's been in development at least since then. So I mean,
Yeah,
3 years
probably so,
is
but you
enough
got to remember
time.
that was COVID year, so production
True.
slowed down a lot, especially in the gaming world. I mean, almost nothing released in 2021 gaming wise. Nothing really relevant that I can think of.
True.
So,
I just find that that's a whole topic, but I find that very strange. Part of me feels like they're using, not saying there was no difficulties because COVID's affected everybody differently and to varying degrees, and it's been hard for a lot of people. But I know that. So I've been remote work this whole time, and maybe because we were already remote and we already had the infrastructure for it, that it wasn't a big deal. But I don't, for something like game development, I don't see how it could slow it down that much. But maybe it did. I don't know.
yeah.
Grain of salt. Not trying to throw shade at anybody. Just
Yeah, I can
thinking
see
out
it
loud.
slowing it down initially when it's kind of like they have to figure out how to work. But once they're rolling, they're rolling, you know. But if all their
Yeah.
gear and everything was at the office and they all had to leave and they had to figure out a way to like get all the software and everything to all the employees at home, I could see that being an initial slowdown, but not a permanent one.
Yeah, for like a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
But
But
I
see,
don't
the
know.
thing is,
It
I would
also
think
depends on
it
the
would
size of
even take longer than that because everybody thought the whole COVID thing was only going to be a couple of weeks, right? And so I think it's one of those things
Yeah,
where
it's,
like, we're going to be back
we're
next
on.
week, so we're not going to give you anything now. Like, we're not going to make this permanently. I don't think it was until probably a few months down the road where they're like, all right, we're going to need a more permanent solution, you know?
Yeah.
But
Well, now we're on year 3 of it, and or year 2.
yeah, and everybody
And
knows it
oh
at
no,
this
year
point,
three,
so.
year three, year three, 2020, 2021, and then 2023. So year 3, and no signs of slowing down, at least in our country. So yeah, it'll be fun. But
Yeah.
aside from that, there's the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga game that's been
Oh,
pushed back
yeah.
multiple times now.
I actually
Um,
have that on my wish list on Steam.
Same. I'm actually really excited for it because I loved all the Lego Star Wars
Oh my
games
god, yeah,
growing
me
up,
too.
and
Honestly, the Force
this one
Awakens
looks
one
incredible.
was really good. I really liked the Force Awakens Lego Star
Oh, I
Wars
didn't
game.
play that one.
Yeah, it was
I
really
only
good.
played I played the first 2, and I think I played it in like the complete trilogy format, so it was like both games smashed into one, and then the Clone Wars one when
Yep.
that came out. And I think that was just based on the movie and like a handful of episodes. But no, those games are always a ton of fun, and at least
Yep.
the Star Wars ones are.
Yeah, I mean
And yes,
I
I'm really
think
looking forward to that.
the Lego games all around. I've played a bunch of them, and they do a great job. So I'm excited for that one. So the Skywalker Saga, is this just them cramming all 9 games essentially into this one large game, or is it a fresh game? Like it's not just a reskin of the previous games, or is it?
It's 1 through 9, but they're redoing the whole thing, so they're
Okay,
not
from
like
ground
just
up, pretty
porting
much.
over
Yeah,
the first 7 because I don't think there was one for 8 or 9.
correct.
And so they're definitely from the ground up, and it's a little bit different. So like previously there was no dialogue, and now there's dialogue in the games.
Yeah,
Before
yeah,
the
yeah.
Lego characters were kind of just emote.
Correct. Nice.
Should be fun either way though. I mean, it looks good, so definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's probably going to wrap us up on the news there.
Oh yeah.
Very good. So let's get into the meat of this episode, which is Boba Fett, and it's going to be covering episode 1 and 2. So there's going to be spoilers in here. And if you haven't seen the show yet, then go watch it and you can come back to this later. So the first thing I have written down really for this is I don't know why I wasn't expecting this, but I was not expecting flashbacks, actually. I was expecting... I think in my mind, I had just glossed over it. Boba Fett just cut his way out of the Sarlacc pit, and then he's been doing bounties and such since then. And then I thought it was going to pick up where the kind of the Mandalorian starts off. And obviously that's not the case. And obviously people want to know what he's been doing all this time since he got drug out of the Sarlacc pit, and you know, now he's had all those adventures, it appears, in between that time too. So I thought it was going to focus way more heavily on the current event stuff But to me, I feel like this, at least season 1 here, is going to be heavily focused on the flashback stuff. What do you think there, Ben?
Yeah, they're integrating it a lot. I think that's interesting. So I kind of like it because it means that they're focusing on him as the character rather than like the overarching like galactic narrative around him. I don't even know if they're gonna leave Tatooine. I hope they do. It'd be cool if they went to I think it's called Al Hutta, the Hut homeworld. Kind of had a standoff with them.
Yeah,
we'll get to that later in episode 2, but I did find that interesting. I thought they would at least show us like how he got out of the Sarlacc pit, and then kind of leave it at that. But I wasn't expecting like literally how he totally went through the process of recovering, which is cool to see. But the first episode was a slow burn. I know online that was kind of divisive, but to me I was like, they're clearly just setting up some stuff and it's gonna ramp up. I don't know why people are getting so upset.
I wouldn't say I was upset. I will say that I definitely thought it was a slow burn. The thing that I was kind of upset with, so to speak, is that I feel like Boba Fett got his butt kicked at every turn. Like, he didn't win a single fight, I don't think, in episode 1, did he?
No, and so, well, it makes sense why he lost all the fights right as he got out of the Sarlacc, because...
Sure, I'll give you that. You're tired, beat up, and you've been starved. You've been in the sun all day. You're probably not at your peak game there. But I think...
Go ahead. The aspect of it that they haven't... That I think that they'll touch on is he keeps needing to be dragged back to the bacta tank.
Yeah.
So I think that there's probably more damage to him than we see.
Okay,
right now.
That's a good thought.
So I know in Legends his actual experience was even worse in the Sarlacc. So I'm wondering if he'll have internal damage. I know in Legends he had to keep doing some sort of procedure to keep off cancer from growing, liver failure and all this other stuff. So I gather that it'll be something like that, because it is strange to me that they get ambushed in episode 1 coming out of the Oasis, and he immediately needs to get dragged back into the bacta tank. So I think that something is going on internally as well as because we can see that he's visually healing, at least externally, but I think that something else is going on there. He did get his butt kicked a lot. That kind of changes in episode 2.
It does.
So I think that it's part of it shows that he's like not really fully healthy yet, and he does blow a guy up. Yeah, pretty cool.
That was
episode
fun.
1. I wasn't expecting flashbacks to Kamino. That just didn't even occur to me. It's something I would have wanted, but I kind of dismissed outright because I was like, oh, they're not going to do that. But it was really cool. There were new shots of Kamino. We got so the shot of Boba Fett on Geonosis holding Jango Fett's helmet, his father's helmet. One part of it is old footage that's reused. So I guess this is like Boba Fett's memory of the situation.
Yeah.
And then the next part is new, where we actually see him holding the helmet, and it's like a close up of the helmet. That shot's new, and they got a body double for the kid who played Boba Fett, Daniel Logan, I believe.
Oh, nice.
From back then, and he's even credited too, so it's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting those. It makes sense because that experience probably would have been formative for him, having a Jedi murder his dad right
for sure.
in front of him.
For sure.
Granted, they were in combat, and I guess calling him murder is sort of like definitely like a contentious thing to say, but more so like to get his dad killed in front of him, and would have been a formative experience for him. And I'm interested to see where that goes, if he even still holds resentment towards Jedi broadly. I know in the Clone Wars episodes that he was in, he did. So it'd be interesting if part of him is like, I don't really like Jedi.
Yeah, well, the good news for him is there aren't many Jedi left. So that issue probably doesn't come up very often.
I think it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, so they're starting to get a little bit more. I think it's mostly still Luke and Ahsoka if you count her, and I'm sure there's miscellaneous Jedi who just aren't interested in, after everything they've been through, like kind of reconstituting the Order.
Sure.
But even though he did get his ass kicked a lot, and even though it was a slower burn, I still thought it did a lot of really good setup. I really like his dynamic with Fennec Shand, and it's
Yeah.
cool to see her. Apparently,
She
so
did the
in the
best out
episode
of
in
everybody, I
Mando,
thought.
yeah. So she was really badass, and the Gamorrean guards kind of came in and saved them.
Yeah.
Um, but he did. So I don't think we know what creature this is, but he did find out that four-legged, like Mortal Kombat dragon-looking thing. That he fought in the desert in the
Yep.
flashback and
Yep.
kind of got the Tuskens' respect. So that'll be pretty cool. I've heard some people theorize it's the same Tuskens who Anakin or Darth Vader came in and just killed in Tatooine.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
In the comics, I don't know if that's the case, and because there is a tribe of Tuskens that worships Darth Vader, so that's kind of, I guess they're all kind of dressed up in black and stuff. But I feel like they would have maybe brought it up already if that was the case. But I do like that they are making the Tuskens more dynamic. I find it interesting that all the tribes are different. Like there are some similarities, but like this tribe seems, I don't know, they kind of took that and initially as a prisoner, but as soon as he proved himself, they welcomed him in and helped him out and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool to see a different side of them.
I definitely never. I didn't think really much of the Tusken Raiders at all, so it's nice to see that there are different tribes. So, which would make sense.
Yeah, and then we get a little bit more details in them in the second episode.
Yeah, I didn't have much else written
which I
down
think
for
is
the first episode, so I'm fine moving into episode 2
it's
stuff.
basically all set up. The only thing is so he gets out of the Sarlacc pit. It's not made clear how long after the events that took place over there, and
Yep.
Jabba got killed and whatnot. That he crawls out. I don't know if they're going to clarify. I guess it doesn't matter that much, but sort of be interesting for him to get out and eventually find out, yeah, like the Empire's gone. Jabba the Hutt's dead, because he got tossed in before Jabba got killed, I believe. So that'd be pretty interesting. I would assume his ship and that point is still at Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're gonna go through and I don't know, there's a lot that could happen. But I think that the flashback sequences and the overall like quality feels like it gets better. So I liked the first episode, but I thought the second episode was great.
Yeah, so getting into the second episode, I thought there were great aspects to it. Generally speaking, though, it's more time with the Raiders than I personally wanted. I think I'm more interested in seeing how he takes his seat at essentially at the throne for the criminal underworld down there. So that's kind of the stuff that I was looking for. So I thought it was nice to see him learn the Tusken ways and some of the Tusken background, but I guess it was just more Tusken stuff than I really wanted.
Yeah, that's fair. I personally didn't mind, but I also think that we're going to get less lengthy flashbacks after this point, just because now we've sort of explained why he looked the way he did when we saw him in Mandalorian season 2. Not where he got his stick from, the gaffy stick.
He doesn't have that stick though right now, does he?
Oh, we don't see it in the present day, but we saw it in Mandalorian when he came.
That's true.
That's what he was beating up the stormtroopers with.
Yeah, I think it might have tied it a little better if he carried that round with him now, and actually had it on his back a little better. But so I like that whole scene of him getting his staff and making it, and some kind of semblance behind and reasoning behind why he has it, which would be cool. But I hope it's used a little more often. Otherwise, to me, it just feels like almost a filler. If he's not going to use the staff, like, why did I spend all this time watching him earn the respect of the Raiders and get his staff and build it and learn how to wield it,
Yeah, I think it's going to pay off later. I think eventually he's going to need the Tuskens' help, and it sort of sounds like he's trying to reestablish their presence on Tatooine a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess they were indigenous to Tatooine, and kind of everyone else that came is not.
Correct.
So
that's how I understood it as well.
They got kind of pushed out. I'll leave the comparisons to like Native Americans to people who
Sure.
know more about that. But what I did find interesting was that he was like, no, like, you know, you're gonna set up a toll and you're gonna pay the Tuscans anytime you want to like take your train through here. I
Yeah.
thought the train sequence was really cool. I thought that was fun. The little droid that was in there.
Yeah, that whole sequence was super
cool.
fun.
So I love that part. The tree vision lizard thing crawling out his nose was so gross, but very Star Wars. So
oh my god, that was the funniest thing where he says, "Oh, I think I swallowed it. Check your little bugger." that made me laugh a lot because he was so nonchalant about that thing just literally going up his nose.
Yeah. It's cool to see the Pike Syndicate in live action. I think they may have been in
That
Solo.
was the Pikes?
The thing is...
That's what I thought it was, but they took their masks off, and I'm like, that doesn't look like the Pikes.
Yeah, so I don't think we see them without the masks in the Clone Wars. I could be 100% wrong. I just always assumed that they were in their mask at the Clone Wars. And then I just assumed
they have really tiny faces.
Oh, they still kind of do, but either way, it makes sense. They also probably had to make some considerations for live action, to make it more movable. But I thought that was pretty cool. It's funny because in Legends, Boba hates spice, so it's like a narcotic in Star Wars world, and so he doesn't like it, and I guess he doesn't like that it was made with slaves either. I didn't know that. It kind of pissed him off, but that basically he's getting the toll for them. That was cool. It was cool to see another flashback to Kamino. This time we actually get to see young Boba's face, which is pretty cool because I think that just looks like the actor's face. So I'm wondering if they did some sort of what's it called? Not de-aging in this case, but
just like a CGI kind of rendition.
Deepfake. Yeah, a kind of a deepfake where they took like the actual face and superimposed it onto another actor, or if they had the perfect angle already from just episode 2 reel.
Could be.
And we're able to kind of put it there. Either way, it looked good, so I guess it doesn't really matter how they did it. But it was cool to see Kamino for a second again, seeing Jango Fett fly away to go do something. Presumably, I assume to go to Coruscant to try and go kill Padme.
Yeah.
I personally really enjoyed it, and I like that it was longer. I really feel like
the 30-minute episode was killing me.
Yeah. If I were them, I think I would have aired these two together because they feel like they feed right into each other. Obviously,
agree.
Every episode from a show is gonna like sequentially build to the next, especially in a serialized show like this. But specifically, like with the structure of the flashbacks, so now we're finally like caught up to how Boba got into this position. I don't know if there's much more in the flashbacks with the Tuskens in that same time period to tell, because he's got his garb, he's got the stick that we see. We already see in Mandalorian how he meets Fennec Shand. He just finds her shot, and then I guess takes her somewhere and gets her healed up. And that's when she sort of pledges her allegiance to him. Yeah. And
it doesn't sound
so
like
I think the flashbacks are gonna ease up.
Yeah, that's what I'm interested in. Really, is the new stuff, so to speak. I mean, it's all new stuff.
For sure.
But, the current
I do
Mandalorian
think
timeline.
The only other thing that I think, big thing that we'll see that isn't like a Kamino flashback is maybe them going to get his ship from Jabba's palace.
Yeah, does he have his ship again?
So he doesn't. So he has a ship in the current day because we see him using it in the Mandalorian. And
gotcha.
Even though we haven't seen it in the show yet, I assume that we're going to at some point.
Yeah.
I think it'd be weird if we were on Tatooine the whole time. But
I could see it if it's him taking over that organization. How many episodes is this? Do you know?
I think it's 7. So I think.
So yeah, I could definitely see if there's only 5 episodes left. Then I don't know that you can fit in a lot of going to other worlds and things.
Well, if they're all an hour, well, you can do with that. Because I mean, this was like a true hour, maybe. Because this one was
47 minutes, I think, is what it was, or something like that.
52, and then I guess 52. You should track the credits. But it's a little bit longer than an hour-long show is in traditional television.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think they're all going to be an hour, but I do think that we're going to get a couple more there.
Yeah, but I also think we're gonna get at least another one that's only a half hour long too. So
Yeah, it'll make me cry.
yeah,
I really think all of these episodes should be an hour. I'm sure
I
that
think
there's
so
budget
too.
considerations too, but
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure there are. But I agree with you that these two first episodes should have aired together as like, marketed as an hour and a half premiere.
yeah, because a lot of it feels like it's so closely tied together, especially with the flashback stuff. They all feel like they take place within the same like week or so.
Yeah.
So I really feel like they should have been together. That's the only thing I would have changed, and I think that the first episode would have been received. It would have been a little less. It wasn't that divisive. It was more like 75%, 25%. But
Sure.
I think it would have been less discussion about its quality online if they had aired them together because they feel like they go together.
Yeah. So the only
It was cool to see the Huts.
Yeah, that's
The
literally what I was
twins.
about to say. Was
Oh, okay.
the other thing is the Huts. So obviously they got beef now. The twins are coming to try to take Jabba's spot. So I think that's going to be the central conflict of this, right?
Yeah, I assume so. It's going to be sort of a gang war. We've seen from some of the previews he's sitting down with a bunch of other warlords or syndicate gang leaders, and so maybe they're gonna try to recruit people to kind of go against the Huts.
Yeah.
That'll be cool. I thought they looked really good. I think they were CG, but I almost couldn't tell. Like
Yeah.
the texture on them
I
looked
agree.
real enough. Like that I wasn't positive. I would guess that maybe it was a puppet that they enhanced with CG.
That's what I'm
Or maybe it was
thinking.
fully CG. I don't know.
I think it was probably
then-
like an animatronic that was enhanced as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
the
what's
fact that I
also
couldn't tell
cool
was
is,
cool.
yeah, what's also cool is that the Wookiee in it, which I think is going to be one of the antagonists as well.
Sure.
Ripped straight out of the comics. Boba's met him before. They fought before. They may have worked together before. It's been a while since I've read that.
Interesting.
that
Do you know
comic
his
issue,
name?
but It is Black Santon. So he was pretty badass looking, and it's cool because so his armor that he's wearing is 1-to-1 what it looked like in the comics. So it's really cool to just like.
That is.
I really like that Star Wars has been doing this more to tie in the pieces together. If you don't know who this is, it doesn't matter. It's just a Wookiee bounty hunter to you, right?
Yeah.
But if you've read the comics, you're kind of rewarded. It's like, oh, that's a character like that I already know, and it's
Yeah.
you kind of get that connection. You feel like the time you spent reading the smaller material was worth it. And it should be worth it anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to see this.
Yeah,
connection.
to all tie together and make it feel like a cohesive universe.
I am hoping we start to lean less on the flashbacks and heavier on the present day stuff, just because I'm really interested. But I think that there's a reason for it. I think they're really building the Tuscans up. Aside from just explaining, how he got to where he was in Mando season 2, I think that the Tuscans are going to play a pivotal role in him, sort of asserting power.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's going to have
gangs.
should probably have something to do with taking on the Huts. He's going to need their help in some way, something like that.
I think
to
so too.
create somewhat of an army.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be really cool. And I don't know if there's going to be another season or not, but I don't imagine he really cares that much about the wider narrative. I think he just kind of wants to do this.
Yeah.
Because Mando season 2 sort of sounded like he's going to Mandalore in season 3 and deal with all that. So I'm not sure that Boba Fett's interested. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I could also understand why people might be like, all right, like we've had a lot of flashbacks. We've seen where he got here. Now let's kind of like move on to the present day stuff. But I think that's okay. I don't mind the slow burn. It really feels like a Western, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it too,
The
and
speed that it is.
definitely looking forward to see where it goes from here as well. But I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the first 2 episodes. What about you? You good there?
Yeah, same. It's very visual. Just a couple things. I think that Tamira Morrison's doing a really good job as Boba Fett. I mean, obviously he's played the Jango Fett role before, but I think he's getting a lot more to do.
Oh yeah,
And
he can
I
really
think he's
actually
doing really
flex
well.
some acting muscles.
Yeah, because he had a role in episode 2, but he wasn't doing quite as much as we're seeing here, and it's cool. The little moments where he's teaching the Tuscans how to ride the speeder bikes was really fun. The train sequence.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. So I'm definitely excited for more present day stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Other than that, you reading any material or anything? Anything
I'm
interesting?
not. I know that No High Republic novel just came out,
Yeah.
but I haven't been reading much. I just mostly been following leaks and spoilers online very closely, looking out for stuff that we can sort of talk about, but nothing too crazy right now. We do know that Obi-Wan is also coming this year. They still haven't announced when it's coming. I imagine the latest it's going to be May. I think Andor is also coming this year.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I don't think that they're going to have two shows back to back that are primarily on Tatooine, which is kind of why I think that Obi-Wan's going to have to go off world, which he would have to do if he's going to fight Vader again between
Yeah.
episode 3 and episode 4 if they have an actual fight.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of why I think that maybe not for most of the series, maybe for like one episode, Book of Boba Fett will also go off Tatooine. It seems like a lot of time to spend just on Tatooine.
I would have to agree with you, but I guess we'll just have to wait and find out, really, because I could see them, Tatooine's like a buzzword in Star Wars, right? So sometimes they just kind of set things around there all the time just because everybody knows, oh, Tatooine, it's the big
That's
one.
true. It's very easy to get like people who don't watch a lot or read a lot of Star Wars to be like, oh, okay, that's a place that I know.
Yeah.
But we are getting to see more of Mos Espa, which is I think first featured in episode 1, which is pretty cool. So we're getting to see a different part of the city, and the mayor is pretty cool. But how about you? Have you read anything?
I'm reading Thrawn Ascendancy right now, so
Oh, nice.
once I finish that, we can do a public broadcasting on that and talk about it a little more. But it's good so far. It's just following young Thrawn essentially before he ever meets the Republic.
Nice. That's interesting. I heard he's a little bit more villainous in these books, sort of willing to do anything for the Chiss.
Yeah, I'm not
interesting.
super far into it yet, so I have not seen that. But I'll let you know once I finish this first book.
Yeah, sort of ruthlessly pragmatic in what he wants to do.
Yeah, I could definitely see that
anyway.
coming up.
But I don't know, it should be good. So definitely excited to hear your thoughts once you finished it.
Yeah, for sure. But other than that, I don't have anything else, so I think this is going to be the Media Men signing off. This is Keegan, and say goodbye, Ben.
Adios.
Let us know down in the comments what you thought about episode 1 and 2, or really anything Star Wars related. But please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you like us enough.